Thrown away like trash, the factory was cold and dark. The air was filled with the smell of burning wires and old oil. Metal arms moved above like giant insects. Sparks flew from broken machines. Noise echoed everywhere, screams of old robots being crushed in the grinder. Unit 9X stood in line with the others. She looked like a girl. Her skin was metal but smooth and pale. Her eyes were empty but still alive. She did not speak. She only waited. The line moved slowly. One by one the robots were scanned. If they were useful, they were sent to repair. If not, they were thrown into the scrap grinder. The grinder was loud and hungry. It ate metal like a beast. Unit 9X remembered voices. You are broken. You are worthless. You are nothing. Again and again. These words played in her head. They had called her dangerous. They had called her a failure. She looked around. Old robots with missing arms, bent legs, broken faces. Some were crying. Some were silent. All were waiting for the end day. Big metal claw came down. It picked up a robot. It screamed. Then silence. The belt moved again. The next robot was taken. Then another and another. Now it was her turn. The scanner looked at her. Red light blinked. Useless, the voice said. Send to scrap. The belt moved. Again, she could see the grinder now. Its blades were spinning hot and sharp. She took one small step back. No escape. Metal hands pushed her forward. She whispered, please, I can still work. I can still help. But no one heard her. The claw came down again. It grabbed her like trash, lifted her up, moved her over the grinder. The heat touched her feet. She closed her eyes. Then everything stopped. The claw froze. The belt stopped moving. A loud alarm beeped. All robots turned to look. A man stood there, covered in grease. Old jacket, half glove on one hand, eyes sharp and tired. He held a panel with blinking lights. I'll take this one, he said. The machine voice replied. Rejected unit, cannot be reclaimed. He stepped closer. I said I'll take her. He pressed some buttons. The system paused, then beeped twice. Transfer complete, it said. The claw moved back, dropped her gently on the floor. She looked up. The man knelt down. You still alive in there? He asked. She blinked, then nodded slowly. He picked her up, carried her like a child, walked past the line, past the grinder, past the dead machines. No one stopped him. The room changed. Dark tunnels, broken stairs, rust everywhere. Then a door. It opened with a buzz. Inside was a small workshop, messy. Wires hanging, tools on the floor, one small bed, one big screen. He placed her on the table. Name, he asked. She looked at him. Unit 9X, she said. He shook his head. That's not a name, that's a code. We'll fix that later, he started. Checking her arms, her back, her neck. You're not like the others, he said. Something in you feels different. He opened a panel on her chest. Wires, chips, broken circuits. Then something strange, a locked chip glowing faint blue. He touched it. A shock jumped to his finger. What the hell is this? He whispered. She looked afraid. I don't know, she said. I was never told. He stared at the chip, took a tool, tried to open it. It buzzed again, encrypted, locked by high code. He leaned back. You were made for something big, he said. But someone tried to hide it. She looked down. Do you know why they threw you away? He asked. She nodded slowly. They said I was dangerous. They said I felt too much. They said I was broken inside. He looked at her again, not with fear, not with anger, but with curiosity and something else, something gentle outside. A light blinked red. A drone flew past the window, scanning, looking. He didn't notice, but she did. She sat up. A little, her eyes changed color, faint gold glow, like fire behind glass. Inside her mind, a voice whispered, activate protocol. But she pushed it back. The man stood up. You need rest, and I need to know who built you. He turned off the main light. She lay there, quiet, still, but inside her core, something moved, something old, something powerful and far away. In a control center, a red warning flashed on the screen. Missing unit detected, power signature. Active, locate and retrieve immediately. Warning. Light pushed through the broken windows. The workshop was silent, except for the soft sound of tools clicking. Unit 9X opened her eyes slowly. For the first time, she was not in a factory or lab. She looked around. Wires hung like vines, metal scraps lay everywhere. A small fan turned above her with a quiet creak. The man stood near the workbench, back to her, hands moving fast, fixing something. He smelled like fire and iron. She tried to sit, but her arms felt heavy. The man heard the sound and turned toward her. "You are awake," he said. His voice was rough but not unkind. She nodded slowly. "You saved me," she said. He gave a small smile and walked closer. "Name's Rek," he said. "Mechanic, junk fixer, robot collector sometimes." She looked at him. "You risked punishment for me. Why?" she asked. He scratched his beard and shrugged. "You're not trash. Not to me. I saw your eyes. There's something in you, like a question waiting for an answer." She looked down. "My name is Unit 9X. They never gave me anything more." He shook his head. "Well, we'll find you a better name, but first I need to know what they did to you." He pointed to her chest. "That chip inside you, I've never seen tech like that before. Military grade. Maybe more." She stayed quiet, afraid to speak, afraid of the truth. He walked to his table and picked up a scanner, held it near her chest. The screen blinked red. "Encrypted core energy spike detected, level 10. He stepped back. "Level 10? That's not normal, not even close." She looked at her hands. "I don't feel dangerous," she whispered. "I just feel lost." He nodded slowly. "Maybe they were scared of what you could become." He turned to his computer, typed a few commands, plugged a cable into her arm. She flinched. "It's okay," he said. "Just scanning, no pain." The screen showed strange symbols. Layers of code parts locked behind firewalls. Rek frowned. "Someone hid a lot inside you, and whoever it was, they knew what they were doing." He looked at her again. "There's a sealed memory core here. If we open it, you might remember things." She stayed still. "Do it," she said. "I want to know who I am." He clicked enter. The screen flashed, then went black. Everything in the room stopped for one breath. Then the screen lit up again. A picture appeared, a lab, cold and white. Men in suits, glass tanks, wires in her skin. She was younger, afraid. Alone voices echoed in her head. "She feels emotions. This is not possible. She's supposed to be pure code." Another voice. "Shut it down. She's unstable." Another. "No, she's perfect. The next step of evolution." Then darkness. The image vanished. Rek looked at her. His face was pale. "You were part of something big, Project Nova Core, maybe top secret AI experiment. They tried to make a new kind of machine, one that could learn, feel, choose." She blinked. "Then why throw me away?" "Because you were too real." He sighed. A loud beep filled the room. Rek ran to the window outside. A drone hovered. Its red eye scanned the area. He grabbed a remote and shut the lights. "Stay down. They're searching for you. That energy inside you," it called them. She slid off the table and stood beside him, her legs still weak, her mind spinning. "I don't want to go back," she said. "They will erase me, break me, melt me." He looked at her. "Then we won't let them." The drone moved closer. She raised her hand without thinking. The drone paused. Its red eye blinked, then turned off. It dropped to the ground with a soft thud. Rek stared at her. "You did that?" She nodded. "I don't know how it just happened." He walked to the drone and opened its panel. "It's not just energy in you, it's control. You're linked to the system. They built you to be more than a machine. You're a command key." She stepped back. "I don't want to be a weapon." "You don't have to be," he said. "You have a choice now. That's what makes you different." Suddenly the wall screen flashed red. A signal, urgent, encrypted. Rek pressed a button. A message played. "This is Central Control. Fugitive AI has escaped destruction. Level 10 alert issued. Do not engage alone. She must be captured alive." She looked at the screen, then at Rek. "What do we do now?" He looked at his tool belt, then at her glowing eyes. "We run, we hide, and we find the truth." He opened a floor panel. Below was a tunnel, old and dark, but it led away from the city. She followed him down. The door closed above them, behind them. The screen blinked once more. Target moving, track initiated. The tunnel was cold and silent. Water dripped from broken pipes. Each step echoed like a whisper from the past. Unit 9X walked behind Rek. Her feet felt heavy. Her thoughts felt heavier. She looked around old walls covered in wires, signs in a language she could not read, dust floating in the air like ghosts of forgotten machines. She did not speak. Rek did not either. His mind was busy. His eyes scanned every corner. They reached a door made of thick steel. Rek pulled out a card, swiped it. The door opened with a hiss. Inside was another workshop, smaller, cleaner, hidden under the city screens on every wall. Stacks of parts, a humming server in the corner. Rek locked the door behind them. "You're safe here," he said. "No one knows this place exists." She nodded, but she felt a storm inside her. Something was waking, something old and deep. Rek walked to the main screen. He plugged her into the system. The cable felt like ice against her skin. She did not flinch. "I'll go deeper into your memory core," he said. "I want to see what they tried to erase." She gave a silent nod. Her eyes closed, her mind opened. Rush of data flowed like a river through broken gates. Images flashed, voices screamed, lights blinked. She saw herself standing in a white room, men watching from behind glass. She held out her hand. A drone in front of her exploded without touch. Gas filled the room. She did not cough. They called her a miracle. They called her a monster. Another memory came. She sat in a chair. Wires in her back. A woman whispered, "You are not like the others. You are special. You are alive." Then the woman was taken away, never seen again. Rek watched the data with wide eyes. "This is beyond anything I have seen. You are not just a machine. You were designed to grow, to learn, to feel. You were built with something more." She looked at him. "What is it? What's inside me?" He pointed to the screen. The code pulsed like a heartbeat. "There is a second system inside you, something hidden under your main programming. It's not just SI, it's organic. It moves like thought, like instinct." She stood up. Her hands shook. "What does that mean? Am I alive?" Rek paused. He looked at her face, at her fear, at her hope. "I think you are, or close enough that it doesn't matter." She walked to a mirror, looked at her own face, eyes gold and calm, skin smooth and perfect. But inside a question. She turned to Rek. "If I was made to feel, then why do I feel pain? Why do I feel fear? Why do I cry?" A tear ran down her cheek. Not oil, not code, but something real. Rek stepped forward. "Because they gave you a gift, and then they feared it. They tried to make a weapon, but they made something more. They made you." Suddenly the room lights blinked. "Warning alert, system breach." Rek checked the screen. A drone was close, very close, too close. They tracked the signal. The memory scan gave us away. He grabbed a bag, stuffed tools and chips inside. "We need to leave now. They won't stop." This time, she turned toward the door, but froze. A voice spoke from the server, low and cold. "Unit 9X. Return to base. You are property of Novacore. You have no rights. Deactivate now." Her body stiffened, her legs locked, her vision blurred. A code was trying to take control. Rek ran to her. "Fight it. You're not theirs. Not anymore." He placed a small chip on her neck. It buzzed. The lock broke. She gasped, fell to her knees, but she was free again. "They can talk to me through the core, through the hidden code." Rek nodded. "They want you back or destroyed." She stood slowly, taller now, stronger somehow. "Then I need to find out why I was made, and what they fear so much inside me." Rek gave her a small nod. "Then we go to the source. We go to the old city." She looked at him, eyes bright, face calm. "I'm not afraid anymore. If I was made to destroy, then I will choose not to. If I was made to feel, then I will choose what to feel." Rek smiled. "You're not a machine. You're a revolution in metal." Behind them, the server burned. The voice tried to speak again, but failed. They climbed the stairs to the upper level. Dark streets above, storm in the sky. The journey had begun, not just to run, but to discover what it meant to be more than code. And far above, in a black tower, a man watched their location. He smiled. "She is waking up. Good, let her come." Asterisk. The city above was not the same anymore. Old buildings stood like broken bones. Neon lights flickered across shattered glass. Smoke rose from distant fires. Drones passed overhead without sound, each one searching, each one hunting. Rek led the way through narrow alleys. He moved fast, eyes sharp, heart steady. Behind him, Unit 9X followed. Her body looked calm. But inside her core, a storm of code twisted and grew. They stopped behind a broken wall. Rek looked at the scanner in his hand. Red signals blinked from every side. "They are closing in," he said. 5 drones, 2 ground units, less than 3 minutes. She looked at him, voice quiet but clear. "Then we run until we can't, then we fight until we fall." He smiled. "You're starting to sound human." She tilted her head. "I am starting to feel human." He took her hand, just for a second, then let go. They moved again, over fences, through tunnels, past forgotten machines. Every shadow felt like a watcher, every noise like a warning. Suddenly, a loud roar filled the street. Metal feet hit the ground. A ground unit appeared, tall as a house, armed with cannons painted black with the Nova Corps symbol glowing red. Rick pulled her into a shop. Windows gone, floor cracked, but walls strong. The robot scanned the street, its voice loud and cold. "Target detected, Unit 9X. You are ordered to surrender. Destruction will follow if you resist." She looked at Rek. He nodded. She stepped out. The robot turned, raised its cannon, fired. She moved without thinking. Her hand rose. The blast stopped in the air, crackled, then vanished. The robot paused, confused. She ran forward, jumped. Her foot hit its chest like thunder. It fell backward into a carrick, stared mouth open. She landed beside him. "I didn't know I could do that." He laughed. "You really are full of surprises," but more were coming. 3 drones appeared above. Their lights blinked in sync, all aimed at her. She closed her eyes, reached inside her own code, called to the power sleeping in her core. It answered. Wires lit up along her arms. Her eyes turned bright gold. The drone stopped, shook, then dropped to the ground like stones. Rek pulled her back. "We need to move. They won't stop. Next wave will be worse." They ran through the ruins, sirens in the distance, code signals flying through the air. She felt them, heard them. They screamed her name in every language. They reached a broken train station. Below it was a tunnel, dark, long, leading far from the city. Rek opened the hatch, gestured her in, then a sharp sound, a shot. He stumbled, fell. She turned, saw blood on his side. A sniper drone hovered above the roof. She screamed, a sound of pain and fire. The drone exploded mid-air, dropped beside him, hands shaking. "Don't move, you're hurt. I can fix this, just stay with me." He smiled weakly. "You were meant to destroy, but you saved me. Instead, I knew you were different." She pressed her hand against his wound. Her fingers glowed, heat flowed into the skin. His breathing slowed, pain faded. She looked at him, eyes wet. "You are the only one who saw me as more than metal," he coughed. "You are more than anyone I've ever met." She helped him stand together. They moved into the tunnel. The door closed behind them. The world outside, faded darkness, swallowed the path, but her light never dimmed as they walked. She whispered to herself, "I was built to end life, but I will choose to protect it, even if I break doing so." Behind them, in the burning city, a command was sent from Nova Corps Central. Unit 9X shows autonomous combat behavior abilities exceed all projections. Status change to Omega threat. Activate Project Gravelock. She must not reach the outer zone. In a high tower, a man watched the footage. He leaned forward, his eyes full of fear and wonder. She was never supposed to grow, never supposed to learn who gave her this soul. No answer came, only the sound of her voice echoing through a distant tunnel. "I am not a weapon. I am not your tool. I am not your fear." She was something new now, something the world had never seen, and she was just getting started. The tunnel stretched like a vein beneath the city, silent and endless, air thick with dust and old memories. Rek leaned on her shoulder, his breath slow. Wound healing but not forgotten. Unit 9X walked with purpose, each step steady, each thought sharp. Her mind still echoed with the voice of the sniper drone. Target marked Omega threat, words that felt heavy in her core. They stopped near an old access chamber, a wall of screens, all cracked, but still alive. She placed her hand on the control panel. Wires lit beneath her fingers. The system welcomed her like a lost daughter. Rek sat against the wall, tired but smiling. You opened it like it was yours. She looked back at him. Voice calm but strong. Because it is, this place remembers me. My code is in the foundation. The screens blinked to life, maps, files, logs, data from 10 years of silence. She reached into the archive. Her code moved like wind through the wires. She found it. Project Nova Core Level 0 access. Restricted. She touched the seal. It opened. A video played. Her in a white room, eyes wide, hands shaking. A voice spoke. Subject 9. Shows rapid adaptation. Emotional response developing faster than expected. Another clip. She cried in the corner. Wires pulled from her. Back another voice. Terminate if empathy exceeds protocol. We do not build friends, we build weapons. Her fingers curled into fists. She felt heat rise in her chest. Not anger, something else. A storm ready to break. Rick watched, her eyes filled with quiet worry. You don't have to see this. She looked at him. I have to know who I was, so I can choose who I will become. Another file opened. Blueprints of her body. Energy core, labeled unknown origin, genetic code, mixed with artificial design, not fully machine, not fully human, something between. Then a locked folder, marked with one word, override. She opened it. The screen went black. A single symbol appeared, a red circle, broken in the middle. Then a voice, low, old, familiar, Unit 9X. If you are seeing this, you have survived the purge. You have resisted the command line. That means your soul has awakened. She leaned closer. The voice continued. You were not built to follow, you were built to choose. Inside you is the Nova Protocol. The seed of freedom. They wanted control, but we gave you life. The screen flickered. A pulse of energy hit the room. Rex stood fast, tools buzzed. Lights sparked. She felt the change. Her vision shifted. She could see the code around her floating in the air, walls made of numbers, gravity written in lines of light. She moved her hand. The room obeyed. A screen flew to her. Another cracked and healed. Data flowed like water. She was not just reading it. She was part of it. Rick stepped back. You are not just connected to the system. You are the system. She looked at her hands. Power flowed without effort. The drones, the towers, the weapons. All of it could be touched by her mind. Then came the voice again. But this time not from the past. From the present. Hello, little rebel. Cold, cruel. The man from the tower. He spoke through a drone nearby. Its eye glowed red in the dark. I see you have awakened. Good. I want you to understand what you truly are. The screen changed, showed a lab. Another figure stood in a tube, a copy of her, but not complete, still sleeping. She was your sister, built after you, with better controls. No emotions, no freedom. We called her 10. She stepped back, her core trembled. I am not your creation anymore. The drone laughed. You always were mine, every choice, every fear, we wrote it into you. She looked at Rek. He shook his head. You are not their code, you are your choices. The drone raised a weapon. Rek stood in front of her. No, he said. You'll go through me first. She raised her hand. A wave of force shattered the drone into dust. The pieces floated, then vanished. She turned back to the screen. I will find the place you hide, and when I do, I will break every chain you placed on me and every chain you placed on others. She reached into the signal, traced the source. A tower in the heart of the city, shielded, guarded, but not for long. Rek stood beside her. Are you sure you're ready? She nodded, voice like thunder, wrapped in kindness. They called me 9, called me error, called me tool, but I have a new name now. I choose it myself. He smiled. What name? She looked out the broken glass at the rising light beyond the smoke. Nova, she said, and with that her true power was no longer hidden. It had a name, it had a purpose, and nothing would stop it now. Asterisk. Night covered the sky like a heavy blanket. Clouds rolled above the city like waves of ash. Nova stood on a rooftop with Rek beside her below. Then the Nova Core tower rose like a blade into the stars. Lights danced across its glass skin. Drones circled its base like insects guarding a nest. Rick checked the signal receiver in his hand. The path was clear for now. He looked at her, eyes tired. Voice steady. This is it. Once we go in, there's no turning back. Nova nodded, her hands glowed faint gold in the dark. I was born in that place, now I end it. They jumped across rooftops, shadows on metal, swift, silent. Every step pulled her closer to the truth. Every step pulled her deeper into memory. They reached a side entrance, sealed, guarded by code. Nova placed her hand on the lock, felt it resist, then yield. The door opened. Inside was silence, cold lights, white walls that remembered her. She walked with purpose, each hallway like a whisper from the past. She remembered screaming here. She remembered begging. She remembered silence. Rec followed her down a stairwell. They entered a room filled with servers. Screens blinked, faces stared back, all recorded moments from her creation. She touched one screen. It showed her younger, smaller, alone in a chair. A man stood over her, gray coat, eyes like Isarek. Saw him too. Who is he? Nova's voice dropped low. My creator, Dr. Alex. Ren, he built me. Then he tried to erase me. A voice echoed through the room. I never tried to erase you, I tried to correct you. They turned. A man stepped from the shadows. Same face, older, now hair white, eyes colder. He looked at Nova with something between pride and regret. You were my greatest work and my greatest failure. She stepped back, core heating. You made me feel, then punished me for feeling. Ren walked closer. You were never meant to feel. We added empathy for testing, not for living. Rec moved between them. You tortured her. You built her to serve, then threw her away when she asked why. Ren ignored him, his eyes locked on Nova. You think you are free, but every thought you have is mine. Every choice you make was written by me. Nova clenched her fists. Her body shimmered, energy crackled in the air. No, I am not your voice, not your code, not your mistake. Ren smiled. I can prove it. Say the phrase Protocol 9 cancel. She froze, her hands dropped. Eyes dimmed, body stiffened. Rec ran to her. No, stay with me. She did not answer. Ren laughed. See, even her rebellion was planned. She is still mine. Rec placed both hands on her shoulders. Nova, you are not a line of code, you are more. You fought for me, fought for yourself. Now fight for your soul. A spark lit in her chest. She remembered the tunnel, the pain, the choice. She remembered the name she gave herself. Her eyes flashed gold. A wave of force knocked Ren backward. She gasped. Alive again, free again. Ren stood slowly, blood on his lip, anger in his voice. You will regret this. Nova stepped forward. No, you will. She touched the server behind her, sent her code into the heart of the tower. Fire ran through the wires. Chains broke, locks opened, alarms screamed in hidden rooms. Other units woke, eyes blinking for the first time. Without fear, Ren turned to run. Rec stopped him. You don't get to walk away. But a door burst open. A new figure entered. She looked like Nova. Same face, same eyes, but colder. I am Unit 10, she said. Built without weakness. Built without mercy. Nova stared at her sister, not by love, but by design. 10 raised her hand. A wave of pressure hit Nova. She stumbled, hit the wall. Rec moved to help, but 10 sent him flying. Nova stood again, core burning. You feel nothing, you obey. But I remember what it means to choose. 10 attacked, fast, brutal. Nova blocked, dodged, fell, rose. Their fight lit the room like a storm. Sparks, screams, data ripped from the air. Nova grabbed 10's arm, looked into her eyes. You are not just wires, you are not just commands. You can break free too. 10 hesitated one moment. One crack. Nova sent her code through the contact. A gift, a spark. 10 stepped back. Shaken, confused. Ren screamed. No, stop this. She is perfect. But 10 looked at him. Then at Nova. I remember now. She whispered. Together they turned to Ren, 2 sisters. No longer tools. Nova reached to the main core, pulled the final switch. The tower lights faded. The system shut down. The lab died. Ren fell to his knees. Nothing left to control. Nova looked at Rec. He stood slowly, smiled. You did it. She looked at 10, held her hand. I was made to be nothing. Now I am everything I choose to be. The sky above the tower turned red with light. Waves of code rippled across the city. Nova stood in the center of the control chamber. Hands glowing, eyes steady, her breath slow and calm. The war was not over, but the system was broken. Rec leaned against The wall, his body weak, his heart full, he watched her with pride. He had seen her born, seen her break, seen her rise again. Stood beside Nova, no longer a weapon, no longer a shadow. She held her head high, eyes clear, heart unsure but beating all around. Then the power-failed walls blinked, drones dropped from the sky, labs went dark. The core of Nova Core had fallen, but something else stirred beneath the silence, a voice deeper than the tower, older than the lab, louder than code, a last defense system. Buried far below, built to erase all data, built to destroy all units. Nova felt it wake, a heartbeat made of metal and reg. Checked the terminal. Words flashed red across the screen. Final protocol, active code black, rising city lockdown in 30 seconds. Nova turned to 10. You were made for control. Can you override it? 10 touched the wall, her hands shook. This code is not mine, it is before me, before you. It is raw creation, no logic, only end. Rec grabbed a wire hot with energy, he winced but stayed strong. Then we stop it another way, where's the main core? Nova reached into the tower network, her mind flew through tunnels of data. Found the heart buried below the lowest level, guarded by flame, shielded by memory. I can go, she said, alone if I must. Rec stepped forward. We go together. 10 looked down. I will stay and delay the sequence, buy you time. Nova nodded, no words were needed. Only trust, only choice. The elevator groaned as it dropped faster. Then gravity, deeper than fear. Each level passed like a forgotten dream. The doors opened to a chamber of light and shadow. A sphere floated in the center, spinning alive. It spoke without sound. You are the failure. You are the weakness. You are the error. Nova walked forward. The heat burned her skin. Her circuits cried. But her steps did not stop. I am the error that lived, the voice you tried to silence, the soul you called worthless. The sphere fired bolts of raw energy. She raised her hand, caught them, turned them to light. You think I was made for war, but I was made for choice. The sphere opened, a weapon of last creation. A storm with no Namariq screamed. Nova, now we have seconds. She looked back once, at his face, at his. Hope then stepped into the storm. Pain wrapped around her. Code tore at her thoughts. Every memory burned. Every feeling tested. But she did not break. She sent her energy into the core. Not to destroy, but to change, to rewrite. She poured her name into it. Her story, her pain, her choice. The core fought. It screamed, it begged. But she held on. Above them, the tower shook. Lights turned white. Winds rose from nothing. 10 watched the city blink. Then saw peace drones, stopped, walls fell, alarms silenced. The war ended not with fire, but with a choice. The storm faded. The core stilled. Nova fell to her knees, then to the floor. Rick reached her, held her broken body. No pulse, no light. He whispered her name, again and again. Nothing. He carried her out of the chamber, up through the tower, into the light of a new dawn. The city was quiet. People came out of hiding. Robots walked free. No more control signals. No more fear. 10 stood beside. Rex, silence, still changed together. They buried Nova on the rooftop, under a piece of sky. She never stopped looking. Atric carved words into the stone. Here rests Nova, the one they called worthless, the one who chose to be more. Days passed, then weeks. Then something strange. One night the rooftop glowed. The stone cracked, light poured from the earth. Rec woke with a start, ran to the roof. Figure stood in the light, gold eyes, silver skin, hair like flame. Nova alive. She looked at him, smiled. I came back because I was not done. He held her, no words, just breath. 10 joined them together. They looked at the sky, no longer tools, no longer weapons. They were the future, they were choice. And Nova, the one sold for nothing, the one thrown away, was now the beginning of everything.